Welcome to Building Power from Within, Rural and Indigenous Community Organizing. This workshop has been organized in a partnership between the Center for Social Development Studies at Chulalongkorn University and a working group of the 2020 Rotary Peace Fellowship at Chulalongkorn, hosted at Chulalongkorn, sponsored by Rotary. My name is Andy Stone. I'll be moderating the event with support from the rest of our 2020 working group, which includes John Mugisa from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Catherine Hughes-Freitag from USA, Neil Delahaye from Turkey, she's running our tech today, Marita Rainbird from Finland, and Nora Didkowski from Canada. Closing remarks will be made by Dr. Carl Middleton from CSDS at Chula. And we'd also like to welcome a number of activists from around the world, and we look forward to their participation. We're going to focus on the work of three guest panelists today. And our aim in coordinating this event, we had two things on our agenda. We're happy to have these three people here. They're all well-respected community leaders and activists from the Lower-Mekong region who have dedicated their lives to fostering meaningful social change and addressing power disparities. They use participatory community processes, awareness raising, and building networks within and between communities in Thailand and Myanmar. So we're happy to hear from them more about their work today. Our second aim is to have some interactive dialogue between our working group of fellows, the CSDS students, and our group of activists from around the world. So we'll have a chance to ask some questions directly to these panelists today. So when we were creating this event, originally we were looking at the time of the year that we were having this. Last week was the United Nations International Week of Solidarity with people facing racial and ethnic discrimination. And in our discussions in our Peace Fellow group about what is necessary for long-term and sustainable peace, we identified a need to address those issues, as well as issues like gender disparities and socioeconomic class power imbalances, and finding creative ways to build and wage people power. The other topic that has come up since we started planning this event is the global public health situation. So that has created distance between all of us in this time, and hosting this event, moving it to an online format, shows that we do have the capability to make new connections even at a distance. And that is something to give us hope. So a quick explanation of how the event will run. All microphones have been muted for now. Each of our panelists will be introduced by one of our Rotary Peace Fellow working group, and they will have about 10 to 15 minutes to share about their work. And then we will have time for a question and answer dialogue with our panelists. So we ask that if you have a question, if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says chat. If you click the chat button, at the bottom of that window, there's a little blue window that will say everyone. You're going to click that to scroll down and find Catherine. Catherine is one of our Peace Fellows. And you can send any questions or comments to Catherine, and our Peace Fellow working group will sort through those and arrange a question list for our panelists. So at this point, I'd like to turn the program over to our Peace Fellow working group to introduce our panelists. Catherine.
Hey, great. Thank you, Andy. I'm really excited to be here today. I see a lot of people that we know, both from our fellows group, from our visits to the Mekong, and also a number of activists, some great activists around the world that I've worked with over the years, and that I'm assuming it'll be great to connect with this new group and to have some comments and questions come up as well. I'm really happy to introduce Pianpour Dietz. Her nickname is Pi, and she is the Thailand and Myanmar Campaign Director for International Rivers. It's a global INGO working to defend the rights of rivers and communities. For 16 years now, Pi has actively worked to protect Southeast Asia's major rivers, the Mekong and the Salween rivers. She's also an active member of Global Women and Rivers Network, and she is also an Ashoka Fellow. Pai is currently based in the Mekong region and works to protect the Mekong River by focusing on Thailand's role as a dam developer and the main intended market for hydroelectricity. I was really lucky to see Pai speak at a recent standing room only panel at the Foreign Correspondents Club in Bangkok, Thailand, where she discussed sophisticated scientific and human issues related to the destruction of the Mekong River system. But at the same time, Pai gave a really practical, down-to-earth, easy to understand descriptions, recommendations, and challenges related to this important work. We were also lucky to meet her mother, Twenjai Dietz, who's a former member of the National Human Rights Commission of Thailand, but resigned in August 2019. And she was speaking with us about the intersection between human rights, environmental rights, climate change, environmental justice, when our group got to visit the Mekong River and Chiang Khong, where she was one of our panelists. So basically, I'm very excited to introduce Pai today. She just had a major success that she'll probably talk about with the Rapids Blasting Project. So congratulations, Pai, and I'm going to hand it over to you. We're really excited to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Everybody hearing me okay? Okay, very good. Yeah. So Andy gave me a few key questions to share with you about the experience on working in the region on river protection and defending for rights of the affected riverine communities. So I'd like to take this opportunity to recall the work that I've worked with one of the other panelists, Kruti Niwat-Royka, who will be speaking in a little later. Yeah, that on the end of February, we just had his 60th birthday anniversary in Chiang Khong Mekong School, and we had a small panel to discuss about how small group of strong local activists along with fishers, gardeners, and just ordinary and powerful people work together to defend for the Mekong River, particularly in the northern Thailand, where many of you already visit in February, in January, that you went to Chiang Khong. Yeah, that part of the river, as you know, is a part where for China government, they like to have this as a part of larger superhighway for the large cargo ship to travel from southern China all the way to Yunnan, from Yunnan to Luang Prabang province. But how this handful people already voiced their concern, how they utilize, how they organize themselves, how they use multiple channels to access to information where the government or the Chinese company might not reveal it to the public, how they contact with media locally or internationally, how they use different channels, like working with National Human Rights Commissioners, working with a House Committee or Senate Committee when we still had a better Senate in the past. So this made their campaign, even if they start with very small part of the river, but it translates into larger protection of the rights of riverine communities. So I was also asked, what do I think is the most important part of the struggle? I would say that it is because it is purely right-based approach to natural resources. They never talk about compensation. They never talk about remedy or never talk about catch, how much each family lose for the past 20 years after the first dam was built in the upstream, how much fish lost each day that fisherman cannot gain his daily income to feed his family. They talk about it, but they never ask for compensation. They never ask for catch. So that made their movement very strong. They only talk about the rights to information, rights to be able to participate in this kind of projects or policy, regional projects with meaningful participation from the affected communities. And this also implies to other areas, other basins that we work with. particularly the sister basin, the Salawin Basin. I like to show you this very new map that we just produced 2 days ago and not yet publicized. Are you seeing it? Okay, yeah. So it's this is a sister river of the Mekong, the Salawin Basin, which also emerged from the Himalayan plateau, from Tibetan plateau, from the Himalayas snow melt, and running in parallel with two other sisters. Sorry, my colleague asked me to do something else. Let me mute them. So the Yangtze, the Mekong, and the Salawin flow together, run together in parallel in the region where the UNESCO heritage declared as a World Heritage Site as 3 parallel rivers. In this basin, which another panelist, Shining, we also talk about how she worked with the communities over there. This river flow from the same area and flow down to southern region to Myanmar and Thailand and empty itself to the Gulf of Bengal in central Myanmar. This river is still one of the longest international river in the world. What I find also very significant is that Niwat from Chiang Khong and folks from the Mekong network work very closely with colleagues and with communities in the Salawin Basin. There are regular exchange of information. There has been several site visits or school exchange. Also, they transfer their knowledge on how communities being affected by the upper Mekong dams in China and how they like to transfer that knowledge to their friends, to their sisters and brothers in this basin where the river still flow freely and less activities of human activities or the destruction from human or large-scale projects on this Salawin Basin. But if you look closely at the maps that I'm showing, there are proposed 13 dams planned in Yunnan province. There are also 7 more dams project proposed in Chan state, Karenni state, on Thai-Myanmar border, and also in Karen state. So I would say that the struggle or the movement of these 2 basins start pretty much at the same era, same time, same decade, and how people use what they learned from the Mekong, use that knowledge to protect another pristine river. And this kind of exchange and knowledge transfer still happening every year. So one of the questions that Andy sent me about what inspired me to work on not only in the Mekong or Salawin Basin, but in this region for the protection of the river, I would say it's because I'm seeing the strength within the community movement, within the activists, within the concerned journalists, or even concerned state officials. Many of them support us behind the scene. Many of them did the negotiation or provide us with leaked documents or other important information for affected communities or activists to know. So I really appreciate the way that even though we are just like probably not more than 200 people, that key activists, but the way that the network perform, the way that we exchange, the way that we share information, the way that we work together hand in hand, I really appreciate. And many times we feel very tired, like in midnight or New Year Eve or just before Christmas, we have to attend this consultation. We have to draft this statement for Chinese company or to the Thai parliament. But it can be called tiring, but but our spirit is still active. We like to spend our time. We like to spend our energy to defend all these good things, and because we know that someone need to work on this, and then the way that how many of us right now? 40 something. Yeah, and the way that even we have this online seminar, but still a lot of people like to listen to the stories of this marginalized people, marginalized basin. I think that that keep us working, and we cannot leave this kind of activism at all. So that could be my first part of the talk.
Thank you, Pai. I had a quick follow-up question before we go to the broader questions. As far as kind of what you're doing in Shan State and some of the women's initiatives that you're working on with the Global Rivers and Women, would you want to just say a couple more things about that, and then we'll have more questions later.
Yeah, but what I find pretty interesting, I myself give so much attention to the women group, to the young people and women group, because I think particularly the housewife group, because they are actually the one who handle very difficult things. And when family put into difficult time, they are the one who take care of the whole family. They are the one who find food. They are the one who find something to drink or to eat for kids and for the whole family. So we are very lucky to have very active participation from women activists, from women fishers, from housewife group, particularly in along Thai Myanmar border in the Salaween Basin on Karen State. We have very well organized Karen women organization, as well as a Karen student KSNG, Karen student network group, something like that. So they are already very active and well organized group. And the way when we work with them, when we distribute information through their network, information reach the target very well. So they talk when they go fish together. They talk when they go garden at the riverbank. So they discuss, and maybe in the formal meeting, like the visit of a National Human Rights Commission to the Salaween area, maybe we see less women participate because they are busy doing something else in the field or in their house. But actually, they are the one who drive the movement. So that's from my experience.
Thank you very much. I think we're moving on to our next speaker, next panelist.
Next, we are going to hopefully be able to talk with Kruti Niwat Roykow in Chiang Khong, Thailand. Kruti was a master teacher, born and raised in Chiang Khong district, was a master teacher for many years and formed many relationships in communities around that region. And through those relationships, was asked to support community development in many of these villages, and has continued through the last 20 years defending the main stem of the Mekong River, in addition to working with all those communities and tributary villages. And recently it was mentioned they had a bit of a success, a fairly large accomplishment, to indefinitely postpone, they say canceled, a major project on the main stem river.
สวัสดีทุกคนครับผม
He would like to say hello, good afternoon to everyone.
ก็ให้ครูพูดเลยใช่ไหม
พูดได้เลยค่ะครู
เรื่อง
ประสบการณ์การทำงานของครูค่ะ
คือจริงแล้วการทำงานในแม่น้ำโขงเนี่ยหรือว่าการทำงานในการบริหารเรื่องเกี่ยวกับการต่อต้านโครงการขนาดใหญ่หรือว่าการพัฒนาที่มีผลกระทบกับพี่น้องชาวบ้านเราคิดว่าประเด็นที่ประสบการณ์จากการทำงานของเราที่ผ่านมาในประมาณ20ปีเนี่ย21ปีเนี่ยเราเห็นว่าสิ่งสำคัญและปัญหาของพี่น้องชาวบ้านเนี่ยในการต่อสู้หรือว่าการต่อต้านโครงการขนาดใหญ่ที่จะมาทำให้เกิดผลกระทบกับพี่น้องชาวบ้านนั้นเราคิดว่าสิ่งสำคัญเนี่ยปัญหาใหญ่ก็คือความไม่รู้ของพี่น้องชาวบ้านอันนี้เป็นเรื่องใหญ่ไม่รู้ในหลายๆเรื่องนะไม่รู้เรื่องของตัวเองในด้านสิ่งที่ตัวเองพึ่งพาอาศัยได้กินได้อยู่ได้พึ่งพาอาศัยไม่รู้ในเรื่องสิทธิต่างๆที่ตัวเองมีอยู่เพราะฉะนั้นไอ้เรื่องความไม่รู้เนี่ยมันเป็นเรื่องปัญหาใหญ่มันทำให้เกิดอุปสรรคทุกอย่างไงยกตัวอย่างเช่นมีโครงการ โครงการหนึ่งเกิดขึ้นมาเนี่ยแล้วจะมีผลกับพี่น้องชาวบ้านแล้วพี่น้องชาวบ้านก็ไม่รู้ว่าโครงการนี้มันจะมาทำลายโครงการนี้มันจะเกิดขึ้นมันจะเกิดอะไรขึ้นกับท้องถิ่นของตัวเองซึ่งพี่น้องชาวบ้านเขาก็ไม่รู้เพราะว่าเขาไม่รู้ว่าบ้านเขาเนี่ยมันมีความสำคัญอย่างไรอันนี้ก็เป็นประเด็นอันที่สองก็คือเมื่อพี่น้องคิดว่าสิ่งที่เข้ามาจะมีผลกระทบกับเขาแต่เขาก็ไม่รู้ว่าจะสู้อย่างไรไม่รู้ว่าตัวเองมีสิทธิ์ที่จะต้องปกป้องสิทธิของตัวเองอย่างไรบ้างอันนี้ก็เป็นปัญหาใหญ่ที่เราเห็นมาตลอดโอเคไหมตัน
so
ตันไปหรือยัง
ค่ะ
โอเค
ฮัลโหลครูได้ยินตันไหมคะเดี๋ยวตันเดี๋ยว
ได้ยิน
so he sharing his experience of over 21 years of working in the Mekong on the mega infrastructure development projects. So the key challenges are mainly 2 points he raised. First is an unawareness of the villagers. So the villagers does not really aware that they are rely on the natural resources and the right that attached to those resources. Therefore they couldn't get a sense of what could be the impact of those infrastructure development projects that could come. And then and the second point, even if they get to know the impact assessment, they don't really know how to deal with that or how to struggle in response to the infrastructure development.
อีกประเด็นหนึ่งก็คือเรื่องคือชาวบ้านไม่รู้วิธีการขบวนการนะในการขับเคลื่อนประชาชนนี่เขาไม่เคยได้มีประสบการณ์ที่ลุกขึ้นมาเพื่อหยุดยั้งโครงการจากรัฐบาลหรือว่าโครงการจากทุนขนาดใหญ่มาก่อนอันนี้ชาวบ้านเขาก็ไม่รู้วิธีการต่อสู้พูดง่ายๆไม่รู้วิธีการต่อสู้หรือวิธีการขับเคลื่อนหรือขบวนการขับเคลื่อนอันนี้ก็ทำให้ชาวบ้านมีปัญหา
In addition, they don't have experience in the movement in activism, so therefore they don't really know how they would go about addressing or voicing the issue, doing advocacy with the government in this regards.
เพราะฉะนั้นในการขับเคลื่อนภาคประชาชนในการเข้าไปทำงานร่วมกับภาคประชาชนของเราเนี่ยเราจะเน้นย้ำในเรื่ององค์ความรู้ก่อนสิ่งแรกจะต้องให้ชาวบ้านรู้ก่อนรู้จักตัวตนรู้จักเรื่องที่จะเข้ามาอันนี้เป็นเรื่องสำคัญมากเป็นเบื้องต้นที่เราจะเวลาเราเข้าไปทำงานเรื่องแรกก็คือเรื่องสร้างองค์ความรู้เรื่องทำให้พี่น้องรู้จักตัวเอง
So the first step in civil society movement in working with the local community, we need to focus on building knowledge base. And the first point is to build their awareness about themselves and therefore their daily lives and their reliance on the natural resources. Knowledge is the key in this people activism.
ซึ่งความรู้น่ะช่วยให้ชาวบ้านได้รู้จักตัวเองรู้จักหลายๆอย่างแล้วก็เป็นความรู้ที่ใช้งานวิจัยเป็นเครื่องมือใช้งานวิจัยเป็นเครื่องมือและไอ้งานวิจัยตัวเนี้ยมันก็จะเป็นตัวที่ทำให้เกิดกระบวนการมีส่วนร่วมของชาวบ้านไปในตัวด้วยเพราะชาวบ้านก็เป็นนักวิจัยเขาจะเข้าใจถึงปัญหาแล้วก็สิ่งที่การที่จะทำยังไงต่อไปอีกด้วยเพราะฉะนั้นไอ้เป็นความรู้ที่มาจากงานวิจัยเนี่ยงานวิจัยก็จะเป็นตัวที่สร้างเครือข่ายไปด้วยเป็นตัวที่สร้างสร้างขบวนไปด้วยครับ
The knowledge that we refer to here is research-based knowledge actually. The participatory approach to research and actions with the community is an approach that build network and also create at the same time their awareness and their participation in people movement and activism.
เพราะฉะนั้นการสร้างงานวิจัยการทำงานวิจัยก็เป็นการสร้างเครือข่ายไปด้วย เครือข่ายไปด้วยแล้วหลังจากที่ทำงานวิจัยเสร็จเนี่ยสิ่งสำคัญก็คืองานที่มันออกมาเนี่ยผลที่มันออกมาเนี่ยมันก็จะมันจะมีพลังเพราะเป็นงานของทุกๆคนที่ร่วมมือกันทำมันมีพลังในด้านของการเผยแพร่เพราะทุกๆคนก็จะช่วยพูดช่วยอธิบายในเรื่องของตัวเองทำออกไปมันก็จะมีพลังในเรื่องของการเผยแพร่แล้วก็สำคัญก็คือเป็นงานที่อธิบายมาจากผู้ที่เดือดร้อนอธิบายมาจากผู้ที่จะมีผลกระทบจากโครงการโดยตรง
Therefore, in this sense, research is networking. Research is an approach to build network. And the result of the research or research finding is really powerful because it belongs to everyone engaged in the movement. They automatically will talk about the result, will distribute the results, and then it's powerful because it's explained by those who are impacted or those who are facing the difficulty themselves.
ซึ่งลักษณะงานที่เราทำอย่างนี้เนี่ยเมื่อเราทำนานๆไปเนี่ยมันก็จะเป็นการยกระดับพี่น้องชาวบ้านให้รับรู้มากขึ้นแล้วก็มีความเข้มแข็งขึ้นในเรื่องของการสร้างเครือข่ายเน็ตเวิร์คอันนี้เป็นเรื่องสำคัญมาก
We go with this approach, the more we create those participatory research, we therefore increase the knowledge of the people and also networking simultaneously.
แล้วสิ่งที่สำคัญต่อไปก็คืองานที่ชาวบ้านทำออกมางานวิจัยเนี่ยมันก็สามารถอธิบายให้กับหน่วยงานของรัฐหรือผู้ที่มีส่วนเกี่ยวข้องผู้มีส่วนได้เสียในเรื่องนั้นๆให้เข้าใจมากยิ่งขึ้นยกตัวอย่างเช่นเรื่องของเขตเศรษฐกิจพิเศษเนี่ยเมื่อเราพาพี่น้องชาวบ้านทำงานวิจัยหรือว่าศึกษาข้อมูลแล้วเนี่ยพี่น้องก็สามารถอธิบายเรื่องราวของตัวเองได้เรื่องราวและในสิ่งที่มันจะเกิดขึ้นกับตัวเองได้อธิบายให้กับรัฐเข้าใจได้แล้วมันก็จะเริ่มเปลี่ยนมุมมองเริ่มเข้าใจพี่น้องประชาชนว่าสิ่งที่ขับเคลื่อนอยู่นั้นมันไม่ถูกไม่ต้องยังไงอันนี้มันก็จะเกิดประโยชน์พี่น้องชาวบ้านสร้างความเข้าใจให้กับภาครัฐมากยิ่งขึ้น
Research has been done with the villager. For instance, the special economic zone policy. This is a very clear example. We use the research-based activism, and when at the end of those process, the villager themselves can explain to the government official, to the public, of their concern, their issue, the status of their resources, and that result in the change of perspective from the government side and local administrations. This approach, therefore, is very significant and powerful in activism.
แล้วก็สิ่งสำคัญที่สุดอีกอันหนึ่งก็คือเรื่องของทุกกระบวนการในการทำงานของเราเนี่ยเราจะกับพี่น้องประชาชนกับชาวบ้านนะเราถือว่าการมีส่วนร่วมในทุกขั้นตอนเป็นเรื่องสำคัญมากในการขับเคลื่อน
The key of all movements is engagement and participation of the people.
โอเคไหม โอเคนะ
ค่ะ
Thank you so much. I think we'll move on to our third panelist, and that will be introduced by Nora.
Hi, everybody. So it is my absolute pleasure to be able to introduce Nong Shining from Shan State in Myanmar. And I've been following her work now for a few months since Andy introduced me to it. And it's absolutely wonderful, the things that you've been doing, Shining. So Shining works in the field of peace building and environmental advocacy. She's the founder and director of Mongpan Youth Association, and also a co-founder of Weaving Bonds Across Borders. She was formerly the school training coordinator and alumni program coordinator for Earth Rights International's Mekong School. She has a Master's of Arts in International Development Studies from Chulalongkorn University, a second master's degree in the field of sustainable natural resources management from the University for Peace in Costa Rica, and her third master's degree is in the field of global politics at Ateneo de Manila University in the Philippines. So she's passionate about ethical and sustainable river management and interested in the intersection of peace and conflict transformation, human rights, and environmental issues in the Mekong and Salween regions. So thank you so much for being here. Really looking forward to your talk.
Thank you very much, Nora. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Nang Shining. I'm a founder and director of Mungpan Youth Association. Our organization is based in Taungji, Southern Shan State, Myanmar. I believe that everyone has potential to be a leader. They just need an opportunity to explore their potential. They just need a safe space to create their confidence. That's why I want to provide opportunity and give a space to youth. Youth is our future leader. If they live in a positive environment and if they are empowered enough, they will able to create a positive change in our community, in their community and society as a whole. I left my country since 2005. Because of the civil war and because of the civil war and the forced relocation happening in my hometown, and after living outside of the country for a decade, I decided to go back to my hometown, my country, and to work for youth who has little opportunity to explore their potential, who are being oppressed in the name of development and who are structurally violated in the man-dominated society. Today, I would like to share you how Namkong School exists to build human resources and build power from within in Shan State and across the Dan Rin River Basin in Myanmar. And Namkong School is one of many programs of Mungpan Youth Association. And Namkong refers to Dan Rin River in Burmese or Salween River in Thai. It means that Namkong School is a Salween school. The ultimate goal of Namkong School is to create youth leaders and human resources in Shan State, which is one way or another that can contribute to peace building and sustainable development in Myanmar. At the Mekong School, the students learn the introduction of the environment, the basic rule of law, the development issues in Shan State, including field visits to the dam sites, to the mining and coal power plant sites, and the affected communities. They also learn the skill-based lessons such as advocacy skill, facilitation skill, research skill, and video documentation. When they completed the leadership training at Namkong School, they are part of the Namkong Alumni Network. I confused because I used to work with Mekong School at the same time. Now I'm working for Namkong School, so sometimes it's confused. Sorry for that. Now we have around 120 alumni, and many of them are very active to protect their natural resources and to develop their community. Some alumni are trying to make their village for clean and green zone. Some of them are fighting against the mining company, and some of them are fighting to get back their ancestral lands from the land grabbing. Some of them are also using the same model of Namkong School to build capacity of the youth in the communities. Of course, some of them are left leaving behind for several reasons. Today, I would also like to share you one case study in Tengkong village, how our alumni are working in Tengkong village in Yuangan Township, Southern Shan State, Myanmar. The alumni in Yuangan townships are very active because we continuously support them in any way that we can. We provide technical support, human resources, and help them connect with many other organizations. We have around 12 alumni living in Tengkong village. They are very unified in organizing and also conserving their natural resources and empowering women and youth in their community. They apply the knowledge and skill back to their real life and their work. They open, in their community, they open community library and create reading and sharing space for youth in their village. They were, in 2019, they were doing the research on gender role in water governance. They are also planning to do more the community-based research on the status of land conflict and social cohesion different community in Yuangan Township. They also have an idea to work together in order to build their own future. The idea of the project is to conduct a research and publish a book, namely Our Resource, Our Identity, and Our Future, in hope that other community members and government will recognize the indigenous local knowledge in natural resource management. Conducting research is a good way for them to explore their existing problem within their community, also to find the solution by themselves. Throughout the processes, they will also learn the importance of team spirit and teamwork. Not only they are planning to create their future where they want to live in, but at the same time, they are also fighting to secure their community land. In 2016, the mining company came to their village. Until 2018, they did not take any actions because they did not know how to deal with the powerful company. In 2018, our female alumni started to take action by asking many questions to the company and to the local authorities about what is environmental impact assessment processes and how the decision was made to let the company came into, and they raised many questions to the company and to the local authority. They used many strategies. They also did public awareness in the community by showing video documentation from other affected communities in the public awareness. The video documentary also makes by themselves. It is very, I think that it is very powerful too by using video documentation in the public awareness. They also did a signature campaign. They got more than 300 signatures out of 1,250 populations in the community. After that, they submitted a petition letter to different levels of the government, at the district level, at the state level, as well as to the union level. And they also had multi-stakeholder meeting with company, mayor, the local authority, the community members, and the government officer from a general administrative department. The meeting conducted for 4 times, but only 3 times were legitimate because the other 1 time had more women than men. That's why they was canceled. It was canceled because the decision can't be made due to the small number of men attended the meeting. Not only a soft strategy that they used, they also demonstrated with a large number of people at the front of the company area in August 2019. More than 300 people joined the rally. The next day, the company was suing them for entering into their compound and for destroying their property. Even though our alumni were not committed violence, 7 community members, including 2 female alumni, were arrested for more than a week. With the solidarity of civil society organization, with the help of member of parliament and the general administrative officer, finally they will release. The temporary license for preliminary research or the study of mining company also expire in January 2020. We hope that the community is not likely to come back with a strong opposition group of the community members. I also want to discuss a little bit about the gender issue in this platform. In Myanmar, we are living in a patriarchy society. Men supposed to lead the household, to attend the community meeting, and to make decisions. Oppositely, women are majority in the meeting. The decision could not be made. The women's voices and the concerns are being ignored. One of our female alumni said that one of our alumni said, I want to support the young woman to familiar with the legal issue, the women's rights. That's why I want to become a mayor to bring a positive change to the community. She also said that not only the men, but also the women in the community will not vote for me as a mayor candidate because there is no tradition to elect women to be a leader of the community. However, I will never give up. If I am not being elected this time, I will try more next time. I believe that the woman I provided training, who got the training about gender equality, will support me and will vote for me. And she also said that now I'm learning and preparing how to be a good mayor. Yes, she is very motivated and inspired woman. Even though she knows it is not easy to be elected as a mayor, but she is very strong enough to break the wall, the stereotype and the social norms. Knowledge and experience can really change the persons. She said that in the village, we do not have custom that women go out to join the training. We are always being told that it is dangerous to go out of the community. If we go out without parents, we will get lost in the middle of the trip. After I joined the Namkong training, everything is opened up to me. I gain more knowledge on legal issues and development issues on the Darien River basins, and I gain more confidence in communication with people. Those experiences have matured me greatly. It is one interview from one of our alumni, female alumni, who leads the campaigns against the mining project in her community in Dengkong. I think now I need to conclude. I believe that the continued support is very important measure to build the power from within. That's why we keep providing more necessary skills and technical support to our alumni. I also strongly believe that in 5 years of time, we will have more local researcher, more facilitator, more filmmaker and youth leader and activists in Shan State, especially at the grassroots level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shining. That was awesome. I think a lot of us as women and feminists out there are really excited. We've heard that Pai would like to come back on just for a few minutes, that she was going to discuss a bit about some of the things that got lost and someone in the translation that Kruti was talking about, since he's such an important part of the movement with the Save the Mekong. So Pai, would you like to go ahead and address some of those things?
Yeah, just like to cover a little bit on the key points that Kruti Niwat spoke earlier. I think that the key point that he said is that the absence of awareness on village affected communities' awareness on their rights to participate and the information regarding the in development project that would affect their livelihoods, including the dams in the Mekong or the rapid blasting or the special economic zone, for example. As well, we also highlight the importance of the action research or the community-based research that focus on local knowledge, how to develop, how to package the local knowledge that owned already by the rural communities, so that it become like a book or a research that authored by themselves, and they can use those research to defend for their rights, to explain to the government officials, to explain to the state actors or private actors that why this ecosystem, these natural resources is very important for their livelihoods and how they own the rights to participate. I think that's just to summarize the key points. Thank you.
Thank you everyone so much for your comments. We are going to begin more of an interactive discussion, part of the panel, which we're really excited about. And I think we've got a series of questions, both from the fellows, but also the participants, that will be asking some to specific people and some more kind of common, broad across the panel, so we can get a sense of how each one of you handles kind of different situations. So our first question from the fellows that I want to ask you is, how do you educate, alert, and mobilize people to work together toward the common objectives and vision for the future that you want to achieve? What triggers people to mobilize in your areas? And what are your biggest challenges and successes? This is getting into some more specific issues around movements and movement building. So any of you would like to go first, that's fine.
I think that trust building is very important. And the second thing is continuously working with our partner, with the local people is also important as well. And the other thing I want to pinpoint is that to make people feel the issue close to them, it is also very important. By this way, they can continue working with you along the way. And I think more importantly, to making the local people a front line, as a front line of the campaigner or activist. I think it is the most successful key.
Yeah, I think that when affected communities or public, when they hear or they are informed about the project and they are informed about the potential impacts, I think it's our job is to bring the message to them. Our job is to let them know that this project is going to happen and this project going to affect you or affected our shared natural resources on different angles. Once people are aware, I don't think our job is already finished. People will work by themselves, how to organize, how to protest, or how to send statements, or to organize media trip, for example. So our job as activists, for me particularly, is to send the message or send information to reach the direct affected communities and to the public, to get public support. But importantly, this also depends on political availability or political space in different area, in different country in the Lower-Mekong basin. For example, when we work on this tiny part of the border, Thai-Lao border, against the rapid blasting project on the Mekong, we were pretty successful because it's an area that touched Thai territory. So Thai affected communities can exercise their rights fully, while sisters and brothers in Laos that affected by Nam U Dam Cascade or Sayaburi Dam project, they couldn't even think about raising question to the dam developer or to their government, because there is no such space for them to even ask or even to think about asking question. But we will compare to other countries like Myanmar, like Nang Shining's group or other movement in the Salawin Basin. I can say that, yeah, even though there is oppressed many decades ago because of the civil war in Myanmar, but people understand their rights fully. So even though political space in Myanmar might be limited, but also when people understand that they have rights to speak, to ask, and to demand for participation, that also allow them to exercise within their area. So two key things is a political space and awareness of the people and the public in different countries.
Thank you. Let's go to Vedran next. Vedran, would you like to ask one of your questions? You're one of our fellows.
Okay, thank you. So yes, primarily I had two questions, but I'm more interested in one of them. So we went to the north of Thailand in our field trip, and we saw an important role of village elders and Buddhist monks there. So they seem to have a local and spiritual authority and legitimacy. And we saw the events like ordaining trees and other events with local community. So what is my question is, especially for the religious organizations, are they socially active and engaged beyond spiritual work in your areas? And if not, is there any possibility for them to be more active? So I asked this question several times before, but I got the answer that they are only focused on their spiritual work. And time again, we saw this is not true, that they're working beyond the spiritual scope. So I'm interested in their activities, and do you connect to them? Thank you.
เน้นย้ำในเรื่องนี้นะเพราะว่าเราเชื่อเรื่องความศรัทธาเราเชื่อในเรื่องความศรัทธาความเชื่อมันเป็นเรื่องสำคัญที่มันสามารถนำมาใช้ประโยชน์หรือนำมาใช้ในการขับเคลื่อนของภาคประชาชนได้ยกตัวอย่างเช่นการที่เราใช้ศาสนาเนี่ยความเชื่อเนี่ยมาเพื่อการขับเคลื่อนในการอนุรักษ์เช่นเราบวชป่าใช่ไหมบวชป่าบวชน้ำอะไรพวกนี้เราก็ใช้เรื่องของศาสนาซึ่งเราก็ไม่ได้กำหนดว่าเป็นศาสนาอะไรเช่นในเครือข่ายของเราในน้ำอิงน้ำโขงเนี่ยก็มีศาสนาพุทธใช้พิธีกรรมทางศาสนาพุทธเข้ามาขับเคลื่อนศาสนาคริสต์ก็มีผีก็มีนะครับหลายศาสนาที่เรานำมาใช้ในการขับเคลื่อนซึ่งมันก็ได้ผลนะเพราะว่าพี่น้องประชาชนหรือว่าชาวบ้านเนี่ยเขาก็มีความเชื่อในศาสนาของเขาอยู่แล้วเพราะนั้นถ้าเราเอาเรื่องของศาสนาเนี่ยมาขับเคลื่อนทางด้านสังคมไปด้วยมาช่วยในเรื่องของการขับเคลื่อนไปด้วยมันก็จะทำให้เกิดพลังนะที่สำคัญอีกด้านหนึ่งและอีกอย่างหนึ่งที่เราอยากยกตัวอย่างเช่น ในเรื่องการต่อสู้เรื่องแม่น้ำโขงเนี่ยเราก็เคยใช้เรื่องของการเรื่องศาสนามาขับเคลื่อนเราเคยเดินธรรมยาตรา walk for เดินเพื่อสันติภาพนั่นแหละโดยใช้ศาสนาพุทธใช้ศาสนาในการเดินธรรมยาตราเพื่อรณรงค์ในการรักษาแม่น้ำโขงดูแลแม่น้ำโขงอันนี้ก็เป็นประเด็นที่เราใช้อยู่ครับผม
He describes how Rakchen Kong Group has relied on religious-based organization and religious faith and belief in social movement and activism. For instance, at the practical level, they use forest ordinations and water ordinations. This has no specific relevance to any religion, so it could be Buddhism, Christian, or even animism, and that has very impactful because the villagers themselves had their belief and their faith. And when we link this in social movement and activism, it had create a force. He also addressed one of the example like Dharma walk that has been used to campaign for natural resource and river protection, also in the Rakchen Kong Group.
Hello, my name is Farai. I am calling from Zimbabwe, and my question is specifically directed to Nand, but the other panelists can also chip in if they have any information on that. I want to know, you talked about the problem of patriarchy in Myanmar, and I want to know if violence against women is a big problem in your country, and I also want to know whether extractive industries are militarized. We hear lot of strong role of the military in extractive industries in your country, and the way that this militarization may be increasing male dominance and violence against women in the extractive sector. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions about the patriarchy society. Yes, gender-based violence is it is a big problem in our country, but still exists everywhere. Nowadays, the women group and gender group, they are trying to come up with a better policy in order to secure the gender equality. So now many groups are working on this for a better policy and a better law. Yes, it is true that militarization also one part of the problems. Military is very powerful in our country. Even in the constitutions, they take 25% role in the parliaments. Yeah, that is a big problem. We are trying to amend our constitution, not paying more power to the military, but still it is very difficult because the constitution itself was made by the military member. That's why it is very difficult to amend unless we amend the constitution. So it is very difficult for our the future of our country, but we still working on it. Thank you for your question again.
I'm answered. Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah. You're welcome.
So Arki has a question about the use of open source technology in advocacies, especially related to security and staying safe, for the mapping of local resources, for example, using mobile apps.
In our work, we don't really use advanced technology in as part of our campaign activity. Maybe if you realize during my presentation, our youth group, they did not use media. That's why that issue, it is not. The issue was not open to everyone to know. I think using media is very good strategy, but somehow now we at the same time we also concerned about the security. When we use media, if we don't know how to use properly, it can also put us in a risk. And very recently, we are thinking to invite some guest speaker to our Namkong school training, like how to use media as an advocacy tool, but at the same time how to make sure the technology is secure for not only for our staff but also to the activists, local activists. So from now onwards, we are planning to invite the speaker to share about this topic to our students, to participants, and our local partner.
Okay, so the first question concerning media comes from Robson from Zimbabwe, and he's asking, what strategies are you using to reach to the media to play a critical role in the community? So I think this is addressed to all speakers.
I can share briefly about this. I think it's also results from our long, many years of working on the issue. So when we work closely with the affected communities, when we work closely with the civil society network in the region, every time when we have issues or press release or media trip, we'll get participation from media and journalists locally and regionally, as well as sometimes internationally. I think the one of, not maybe not strategy, but the key principle we are using is that it has to be evidence-based. So we are not making up any stories or anything like that, but everything we are using in the media messaging based on the truth, based on the evidence that's happening. And when we organize a media trip, for example, the NGO or civil society group, trying to not to speak on behalf of anyone, but we try to bring the journalists to the direct affected communities, so that villagers, so that women groups, so that youth or fishers or gardeners can speak by themselves. So their voice will be or have been heard by the public, gaining more public support, and hopefully the decision makers will hear this and will reshape the decision making process over shared natural resources in the region.
ผิดงานสื่อเองผิดคนทำสื่อเองอันแรกผิดคนทำสื่อผิดงานสื่อเองอันนี้ก็คือสิ่งที่เราทำอันที่สองก็คือเชื่อมร้อยกับสื่อส่วนกลางเชื่อมร้อยกับสื่อส่วนกลางในการนำเสนอสู่สาธารณะอันแรกเนี่ยคือการเราสร้างคนทำสื่อเองแล้วก็เสนอสื่อเองเนี่ยมันก็เป็นเรื่องที่สำคัญมากเพราะว่าที่ผ่านมาจากอดีตนี่เราก็จะพึ่งพาสื่อส่วนกลางมากกว่าแต่ในปัจจุบันเนี่ยในนวัตกรรมต่างๆก็เอื้อให้เราทำได้เช่นเรามีการอบรมเด็กๆเยาวชนของเราในการทำสื่อขึ้นมานะเพื่อเสนอต่อสาธารณะอันนี้ก็เป็นสิ่งที่เราทำและอีกอันนึงคือการเชื่อมร้อยกับสื่อเนี่ยสิ่งที่เราเน้นย้ำตลอดกับสื่อส่วนกลางเนี่ยเวลาเราเชื่อมร้อยกับสื่อส่วนกลางเพื่อนำเสนอข่าวออกไปเนี่ยเราถือว่าการเข้าไปกำหนดประเด็นของข่าวที่จะนำเสนอหรือว่าเนื้อหาที่จะนำเสนอออกไปกับสู่สาธารณะนั้นมันเป็นเรื่องที่สำคัญมากเพราะบางครั้งเนี่ยสื่อส่วนกลางเนี่ยในการลงมาทำข่าวในพื้นที่เนี่ยนักข่าวก็อาจจะไม่เข้าใจท่องแท้ในเรื่องของสิ่งที่ชาวบ้านหรือว่าภาคชุมชนต้องการให้ถูกนำเสนอออกไปหรือว่าประเด็นที่มันสำคัญมากที่จะต้องให้สาธารณะได้รับรู้บางครั้งนักข่าวที่ลงมาทำข่าวเขาก็ไม่ได้เข้าใจประเด็นลึกซึ้งเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยสำคัญที่สุดก็คือเราเป็นเจ้าของเรื่องเราทำงานเรื่องนี้เราต้องเข้าไปมีส่วนร่วมในการกำหนดประเด็นในการที่จะนำเสนอให้สาธารณะรับรู้ว่าอะไรมันเป็นประเด็นที่สำคัญแล้วถ้าเป็นไปได้ก็คิดว่าเป็นจังหวะก้าวของการนำเสนอด้วยไทม์ของการนำเสนอด้วยเช่นเราทำสื่อเองเนี่ยเราทำสื่อเองเราสร้างคนทำสื่อและทำสื่อเองเราก็ต้องวางด้วยว่าจังหวะไหนที่เราจะสื่อนี้มันสมควรจะออกไปเรื่องนี้มันสมควรจะออกไปครับผม
Hello. So there are some key points. So first, in media, it's also making the media, but also making the media producer. This is the result of that learning process, because before the movement always rely on mainstream media to disseminate the information. But now, because of new technology or innovations, then they can get control of the media by producing the media itself and producing the media maker, the producers. For instance, they have training for youth to produce videos and video and presentations. He said the key point is not only producing media, but framing of the issue. How do we set agenda for the journalists or the media to voice this issue? We know the problems more than the media, so we have to also educate them, setting the frame and agenda that can communicate to the public. The last point is about timing. Not always all the presentation to the media can be disseminated at the same time. It depends on the timing, which story should be released when, and then which story can be distributed at different times, so that the social movement can be more vibrant and more impactful.
Yes, I wanted to ask, apart from the media, research and advocacy, are there other forms of non-violent direct action which the communities can take to push back? And what are the risks which the activists face, say, if they mobilize the communities to resist the extractive industries or to defend their territories? What are the kind of risks which the local activists face there?
I would say that all of our activities, action and activism is not, all of them are purely non-violence and very much evidence-based and right-based approach, that we only use the truth, we only use what already happening and what will be happening and how devastation will look like to rural communities, to the natural resource, and use that as a tool for us to communicate to the wider public, to the decision makers, to the one on the top. So yeah, we never involved with any of the violence and method at all purely non-violence. And yeah, in terms of the what's the last question? The risks of activists. Yeah, I think we have to admit that the work we are working is pretty risky. Kruti himself living or spending his time on the Mekong in the remote area can be kidnapped, or anything can happen to him anytime, or Shining or any other local activist. But I think what is important is that when we keep ourselves in the spotlight already, when we give when we give interview to the media, to the TV, so people know us, people know that these people are working on this issue. So I'm having the strategy is that if you're not keeping yourself very high profile, keep yourself super low profile, that no one know about you. Otherwise, it can be it can pose any risk to your life anytime, particularly in this region where there's been long record of harassment or human rights violation against human rights activists.
แต่ว่าสิ่งสำคัญที่สุดเนี่ยในการที่จะเข้าไประดมหรือสร้างเน็ตเวิร์กเนี่ยผมว่าประเด็นที่สำคัญก็คือมันจะต้องเข้าไปไม่ได้ไปสร้างยังไงให้ยกตัวอย่างเช่นมีโครงการระเบิดแก่งหรือว่าเศรษฐกิจพิเศษเนี่ยนะเราก็พยายามเวลาเราไปสร้างคนเนี่ยเราไม่ไปสร้างให้เกิดความขัดแย้งระหว่างชาวบ้านกับเจ้าของโครงการอันนี้มันเรื่องสำคัญแต่เราจะต้องทำให้ชาวบ้านเข้าใจว่าทำไมมันเกิดขึ้นมาเพราะอะไรโครงการนี้แล้วมันจะเป็นอย่างไรอันนี้สำคัญนะครับแล้วอันที่สองก็คือประเด็นที่มันเป็นปัญหาในการที่เราต่อสู้เนี่ยมันก็เป็นเรื่องรุนแรงร้ายแรงที่จะเป็นอันตรายกับชีวิตของเราอยู่กับคนทำงานเรื่องนี้เพราะฉะนั้นสิ่งสำคัญจะต้องดึงประเด็นพวกนี้ออกมาสู่ที่สว่างสู่ที่แจ้งอันนี้เรื่องใหญ่นะบางครั้งเนี่ยไอ้การที่มันเรื่องมันยังไงเรื่องบางเรื่องมันต้องดึงออกมาสู่ที่สว่างเพื่อให้สาธารณะได้รับรู้นะครับทั้งคนที่ร่วมต่อสู้ด้วยคนที่ต่อสู้ด้วยทุกอย่างมันจะต้องยังไงให้ออกมาสู่ที่สว่างแล้วอย่างน้อยสื่อก็จะต้องผมว่าสื่อเป็นเรื่องสำคัญนะมีเดียนี่เป็นเรื่องสำคัญมากสำหรับคนทำงานเรื่องนี้ถ้าคนในทำงานในเรื่องเกี่ยวกับตอนต่อสู้พวกนี้แล้วมันต้องใช้สื่อสร้างความสำคัญใช้สื่ออะไรพูดยากนะใช้สื่อเป็นตัวป้องกันใช้ง่ายๆว่าใช้สื่อเป็นตัวป้องกันโดยการดึงคนนั้นออกมาอยู่ในที่สว่างผ่านสื่ออันนี้เป็นเรื่องสำคัญมากที่ผ่านมานี่บางคนต่อสู้อยู่เนี่ยบางครั้งมันก็ไม่มีสิ่งไหนที่ จะทำให้สาธารณะรับรู้ในเรื่องราวของเขาไงมันก็ง่ายต่อการที่ถูกกระทำจากฝ่ายตรงข้ามแต่ถ้ามันมาอยู่ที่สว่างแล้วสื่อได้นำเสนอสื่อให้สื่อได้เห็นในเรื่องราวตรงนี้ผมว่ามันก็เป็นการป้องกันที่สำคัญโอเคครับ
So he said mobilization and networking is significant regarding the risks and then the use of nonviolent approach. In any projects that coming, whether it's rapid blasting or special economic zone in that social movement, we will not create conflict between the villagers and the project leaders or any project. The idea is to create awareness so that the villager understand the rationale and the background, how this project come about. It's not to cause conflict in such a way, but to create understandings and awareness. So in the movement, of course, it's very dangerous and a number of times it's really very risky. We had to make sure that this come into spotlight. He commented on the previous speaker, Kun Pai, that all the movements and people engage in the movement, and then the problems has to be in the spotlight so that the public know about this. Know who is involved and know what's the issue. The role of the media is very important. It's not only to communicate to the public, but the media has a role as a human rights defense mechanism to protect those activists who engage in the movement. So they had to make sure the public know and then create a defensive aspect of the social movement. When those social activism is not in the spotlight and it's not involve media in such a way, a number of times they has been facing with suppression from the opponents, of course.
Yes, being activist is very risky. Like the case study from Tengkong village, our youth leader and our alumni, they are putting in the jail because they take action against the powerful actor like the company, and even though they did not use the violence, they use the non-violent strategy, but sometimes it is very difficult to control the villager because they are very emotional and they cannot control in that kind of circumstance. That's why it is very important that before the campaigns or the movement happen, as the CSO, like civil society organization, we really need to make sure that we have to make a proper plan. If something happen, like if villagers are very emotional, we have to control it. We should have this kind of strategy. The last time we did not have a proper plan to control it. That's why the violence happened. It was made by some villager. But however, our alumni, 2 female, they were put in jail because they were taking a lead of the campaign. And I think it is very important to also plan for the if the activists they became traumatized, and we should also prepare for it. Like when people are in a trauma, and we should also provide them training how to heal them from being trauma. Yeah, I think it is very important. In the future, we plan to have a trauma healing training to the activists, and at the same time, we also plan for any movement we have. Prior to the movement, we should also talk with the villager in advance. We should plan together how to make effective social movement. Like in the village, it was very chaotic because the villager itself, they are very emotional. But for some other campaigns, like we are working together with some other network like Mother organization. For this organization, they are national organization and they plan very well. And they submit the letter to the government, and they if something happened like the outbreak, and how can we control it? So we have meeting 1 or 2 days in advance, and we plan it very well. So in this case, it is very successful. Especially we are also working with media. So media cover a lot of media cover the issue, and it became a national issue. So the government also take action very quickly in this case. But for the case that I mentioned earlier, our local youth and our local community and our alumni, they are working very hard in different measure and different approach. But seems they are success, but still they were in the jail in this case. But in that issue also did not reach to many publics, because they did not use the media.
Thank you, Shining. This is the formal pre-scheduled time to end our meeting. I think we'll continue. I do want to say thank you to Pai. She has another meeting to attend shortly. So thank you so much for coming. Your comments are much appreciated. We're receiving comments from our fellows, how much they appreciate you being here. And we hope we get to see you again, and you can join another meeting with us another time.
Yeah, I'll stay for a bit to listen to closing remark from Dr. Carl Middleton.
So Carl has a question about media. Could you go ahead, Carl, please?
Thank you very much. I feel it's probably mostly been answered already. But I mean, so the people, the three presenters, the things that I think is important is that they also are not just working within communities, but they're really also shaping like national and regional perceptions of what development means in the region, and the important role that like bottom-up processes should play. So I guess the question I wanted to ask is if they had any comments on that particular strategy, like how bottom-up visions should be able to shape beyond grassroots movements and kind of influence this sort of so-called mainstream development in the region. And maybe another side of that is, I think this has been partly discussed, but oftentimes I think that community movements are also misrepresented in the media as being troublemakers. And so I'm wondering if there's something that you might want to comment about, if there's some responses that are needed or not about the misrepresentation of community movements. Thank you.
In our case, working with mother organization, it is the national level organization that monitoring on the mining and coal power plants. In our case, we are alliance with the media organization. So so far I don't see any misinterpretation in the media based on based on our movement, based on our experience in Myanmar, because we have a good relationship with the media organization. Yeah, and I think in the future we should also, as Pai and Pikudi said, it is very important to have a bottom-up approach, and like our own media, like Mekong School, like Pikudi said, they build up the capacity of the youth to be a media, the local journalism. So I think it is good to have this kind of thing. Yeah. And in the future, at our Nam Khong school, we also plan to invite journalists to come and to let them share to our participants, our grassroots activists, to become local journalism, and they know how to write the article themselves, and they know how to post it in their own way. I think it is by this way they can the information, all the information that they have, they can present by themselves rather than present by the national media.
From my experience, I would say that during the Pak Mun Dam movement around 25 years ago, many of activists and local leaders were labeled as troublemakers or the one who distract development of the country. But as time go by, more and more impacts happening, and it's visible for everybody. So when we work on the Siaburi Dam campaign on the Mekong River, before the campaign, we still some media pieces cover things, something like these people still obstruct development of the country or this and that. But later on, when the dam is built, when the water level fluctuate unnaturally, when there are lots of fish died on the riverbank, or when the riverbank garden submerged immediately because of water released from the dams, or unusual drought. So everything we said is proven. So it's there. Everybody going there will see by their own eyes. It's so obvious. It's so apparent. So with the campaign that we use, as I emphasize, that is bottom up and evidence based. So we are not making any trouble, but actually we are the one who speak about to prevent the damage before it's going to happen. And when it happened, we're still talking about it because we want it to be recovered, and we want to prevent the future monster, like future dam, to be built to create even more devastation. So sticking on the truth and sticking on the evidence that protect us. And yeah, this day I don't think it's easy for anyone to blame us as troublemaker anymore, because they just go to the Mekong and see. They'll see what we warned them before, like 10 years, 20 years before. And we are not getting richer. We are not going richer at all. We just the same. And yeah, people know that, okay, we're just working for the public interest. And I have to leave right now, sorry. And I'll come back for the record later. Bye, everyone.
We have Nili Baruch, who has some comment related to media and communication. Over to you, Nili.
Related to planning and development activities. My experience is from the Middle East. I used to work for an NGO organization that was dealing with development and human rights. And I used to work with the indigenous people from the Middle East. And my experience was that the main and the strongest tool that a community can use is to show, as advocacy, is to show alternative to what the government want to plan for the communities. And the alternative is good because the professional alternative is good because it shows to the government and to the developers that we are, as a community, not just saying what we don't want. It's good because it's saying what we want. It's not saying no, it's saying yes. And it's helping the project to be more adequate to the community needs. That's it. That's what I want to say. And I wonder actually if that's what happened also in the case of what we heard.
Thank you. Next, we are really excited, and we'll be hearing from Johnson Young, who is an activist that's active in the umbrella movement and the current movement in Hong Kong. And he has a couple of very interesting questions, so I'm going to let him ask those directly. Johnson? He first asked, he said, I'm particularly interested about leverage against Chinese companies. They are less accountable to public pressure, and they often represent state interest of Chinese regime, which make them less inclined to give in to the demands of local communities. In the activist experience that we have today, what are the push factors to these Chinese corporations? How can they be pressured or leveraged?
This might be an interesting question to hear an answer from Kruti. They have been working with Chinese companies for 20 years on the blasting the rapids issue and also on water issues and dam construction issues. And they have had meetings with some of these Chinese companies. Maybe Kruti can comment on this question. The question is, how do you put pressure on China?
โอเคเนาะโอเคนะคือประเด็นเรื่องของการรณรงค์หรือทำงานเนี่ยเกี่ยวกับโครงการต่างๆที่บริษัทจีนจะเข้ามาเนี่ยผมว่าประเด็นปัญหาใหญ่ของมันเนี่ยคือที่ผ่านมาเป็น20 ปีเนี่ยก็คือการไม่ได้พูดคุยไม่ได้แลกเปลี่ยนระหว่างผู้มีส่วนได้เสียโดยตรงที่ผ่านมายกตัวอย่างเช่นเรื่องการระเบิดเกาะแก่งเนี่ยมันก็พูดผ่านรัฐบาลพูดคุยกันระดับข้างบนระดับรัฐบาลซึ่งมันก็รัฐบาลก็มันมีอะไรซับซ้อนหลายอย่างอยู่ที่จะต้องเจรจากับจีนเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยไอ้ความชัดเจนในเรื่องของข้อมูลข่าวสารที่จะแลกเปลี่ยนกันระหว่างชาวบ้านกับทุนจีนหรือว่าคนที่จะมาทำโครงการนี้มันก็ไม่ถูกแลกเปลี่ยนโดยตรงไงมันก็ผ่านมือรัฐบาลเพราะนั้นมันก็ผ่านมือคืออาจจะผ่านมือผู้ที่ได้รับผลประโยชน์เพราะนั้นสิ่งที่ชาวบ้านนำเสนอไปมันก็ตกหล่นขาดหายไปแต่การที่มีความพยายามแล้วขับเคลื่อนให้มีการพูดคุยกันระหว่างผู้มีส่วนได้เสียโดยตรงเนี่ยยกตัวอย่างเช่นบริษัทต้าถังกับพี่น้องชาวบ้านที่จะมีผลกระทบกับการสร้างเขื่อนปากแบงการพูดคุยกับบริษัท CC ซึ่งจะระเบิดเกาะแก่งเนี่ยพี่น้องชาวบ้านกับผู้มีส่วนได้เสียโดยตรงเนี่ยมันเป็นสัญญาณที่ชี้ให้เห็นว่าสิ่งที่ชาวบ้านเนี่ยต้องการนำเสนอแล้วก็อยากอธิบายให้กับเจ้าของโครงการเนี่ยรับรู้มันถูกสื่อสารโดยตรงไงมันไม่ได้ผ่านมือที่2ที่3อะไรเพราะนั้นไอ้การสื่อสารมันก็จะมีความชัดเจนยกตัวอย่างเช่นบริษัทต้าถังเข้ามาคุยกับเราเนี่ยเขาก็จะพูดเรื่องว่าเราต้องการอะไรเราต้องการการเยียวยาอย่างไรถ้ามันมีปัญหาเราต้องการอะไรแต่มันก็มีความชัดเจนว่ากลุ่มพี่น้องประชาชนชาวบ้านเนี่ยภาคประชาสังคมที่อยู่ร่วมโขงเราไม่ได้ต้องการการเยียวยาเราต้องการการแก้ไขและการพัฒนาที่มันถูกวิธีช่วงนี้มันก็มีความชัดเจนบอกว่าจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยเรื่องนี้เนี่ยถ้ามันมีการแลกเปลี่ยนข้อมูลกันโดยตรงมันก็จะสร้างความเข้าใจร่วมกันมากขึ้นแล้วก็เรื่อง CC คือบริษัทที่จะระเบิดเกาะแก่งอีกเราก็เกือบ20 ปีที่เราไม่เคยได้พูดคุยกันโดยตรงเลยแต่เมื่อมีการพูดคุยกันแล้วเนี่ยระหว่างผู้มีส่วนได้เสียมันกลับชี้ให้เห็นว่ามันมีความเข้าใจกันมากยิ่งขึ้นยกตัวอย่างเช่นบอกว่าบริษัท CCC บอกว่าการขนส่งทางเรือการค้าขายทางเรือนั้นเป็นการลงทุนที่ถูกที่สุดแล้วต่ำเป็นการลงทุนที่ต่ำเพราะฉะนั้นเขาก็เลยอยากให้การค้าขายทางเรือเนี่ยเกิดขึ้นเพื่อการสร้างเศรษฐกิจอะไรต่างๆให้กับทุกคนแต่ว่าประเด็นเหตุผลของเราซึ่งเราก็เสนอกับบริษัทที่จะสร้างว่ามันจะเกิดอะไรขึ้นกับเราและทางออกร่วมกันคืออะไรเช่นเรายกตัวอย่างเช่นคุณไม่ต้องสร้างเขื่อนคุณไม่ต้องระเบิดแก่งแต่คุณลดขนาดเรือของคุณลงซึ่งเรื่องราวพวกนี้เมื่อมันมีการพูดคุยกันซึ่งหน้าแล้วเนี่ยมันก็จะทำให้ปัญหาคือมันเป็นการสื่อสารที่มีความชัดเจนขึ้นมีความเข้าใจกันมากขึ้นเพราะฉะนั้นในเรื่องการแก้ปัญหาหรือการพูดคุยมันก็จะถูกยกระดับขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆอันนี้เป็นเรื่องสำคัญมาก
Alright, so based on his experience in campaign and advocacy with Chinese corporation over the past 20 years, he said the main problem is there's no direct communication between the grassroots stakeholders and the corporation or the Chinese capital themselves. Usually the communication is through different chains of message delivery. It might be through the state apparatus, or it might be to certain agencies. And therefore, when the presentation of impact assessment from the villager or communities, when it reached the corporation, it has been either losing some message or losing some key data and unclear. He mentioned two examples. One is the direct communication with Tatang company in case of Park Bang Dam constructions. He said that the meeting that happened now, it was not about what compensation or what redress could happen, but it's about what could be an impact and what are alternatives. How can we address the solutions and problems together? Regarding the rapid blasting, they have a direct meeting with CCCC companies. Over the past 20 years, they never met. But when they managed to have been in the table together, they understand the company better, actually, the movement. They understand that the company see canalization as the cheapest methods of investment, and that would create economic development for the whole region. But for them, they also took this opportunity to express their perspective. Right? So he said all this direct communication that happened between the grassroots movement and then the corporation, the Chinese corporation, has actually upgraded the efforts to find alternatives and solutions to the problems in a better and clearer strategy.
Thank you so much. Really interesting. Next, we're going to go to Magdalena. She's one of our Peace Fellows, and she has a question.
Hello, and thank you very much for all your insights. My question goes in line with the previous one, and I'm really glad the previous speaker answered that. I'm interested about how you're developing effective communication strategies depending on the target group that you're working with, because all of you have lots of experience working with various target groups. So I would like to ask, how do you adjust your advocacy efforts, for example, when working with the local government or with the central government, and any particular lessons learned, what have worked good in the past, or maybe some lessons about what could have been done better in order to communicate your messages towards these various stakeholders. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I will answer your questions. At the same time, I also want to answer the previous question as well. In Myanmar, we have a lot of Chinese investment, and there are also a lot of problems because of the investor. They did not follow the existing regulation. For example, there are many projects in Shan State. For example, Digi's coal power plant. This coal power plant is the only one and the first ever coal power plant in Myanmar. This one, the project already operated, but the EIA process is the environmental impact assessment is just conducted along the way of the implementation. It is not the right thing to do, like this. And another problem is the stakeholder, like company, the Chinese company, they did not respect the local people, and they came up with their own agenda. And the local people, they request for the consultation meeting, but they just make it as a surface level. They just conduct a consultation meeting, but they did not really take it into the consideration for the voices that raised by the community member. I think it is a big problem. In fact, the local people, they like in the Tengkong village, they did not against the project, but what they want to do, what they want to know is, it came with respect them, calm and talk to them directly. because in the case in Dengong, the company just came to the local authority, just get the signature and gets the approved by the local authority and also the union level, and they did not respect the local people at all. So they just came into the community and they just operated what they want. So in this case, it is not acceptable. What the local people want to do is they want to be meaningfully participate in the consultation meeting, and also they want to plan together. In fact, it does not happen in Myanmar. In Myanmar, based on my experience, and whatever and Chinese company and corporation, they always have CSR policy. In fact, the CSR policy, their approach is not for the social corporate social responsibility. Their approach is like a philanthropy approach. They just give money to the local authority. So it is supposed to be for the CSR money. It's supposed to be like this money should be managed by the community itself. But in the Digit case, the CSR policy is not, the CSR budget is just go directly to the local authority, and we didn't know at all what is going on with the money, and the Chinese company said we already gave to the local authority, so it's happened this way. So I think it is important to have the direct communication, as Pikuti said, and information flow also very important. Unless the local people know the information, they don't know how to engage with the company and other stakeholders like the government. I think it is very important to have the multi-stakeholder meeting with a meaningful participation. At the same time, also release the important information to the local people, and also get a consensus from the local people is very critical. Now many projects failure because they did not get the consensus from the local people. They did not respect the local people. That's why the local people against the project. In fact, they did not against. If they know proper information, if they are being consulted in a proper way, probably it will be a good development project.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming today. We're quite a bit past our initially scheduled end time. I think that's due to the interest of all. We are hoping to be able to run more of these workshops online. So if you're interested in that, you can send your email address to Catherine in the comment box, and she'll make sure that you are invited to or informed of the next one. So we'll do a formal closing here in just a minute. And then those of us who can stick around may stick around for one or two more questions if either of our speakers are also able to stay. So for our formal closing, we'd like to thank Chulalongkorn University and Carl Middleton for helping us host this. We had initially planned this to be an in-person event, and with the changes, the global situation, all that had to change, and CSDS offered us an online platform and access to their network to be able to host this event. So I'd like to turn this over to Carl.
Thanks so much. Really, all I want to do is say thanks to the three speakers that have spent their time to share with us their insights today, to Kruti and Tan, who was helping with the translation, and then with Nang Shining as well, and Pai, who's already had to go. But then also to thank Andy, but all of the other Rotary Peace Fellows as well, who have organized this, to Nil, Nora, Catherine, John, and Marita. I think this has been a very interesting and engaging discussion, and clearly one that could also go on for quite a bit longer, and maybe we'll do. Also, just to thank Anissa and Orapan and the CSDS team from our side And then I feel I should also thank Ajahn Surachai and Ajahn Vitun and Tita from the Rotary Peace Center, who have also been involved in your program, who I know have been organizing with you for a couple of months. It would seem it's not my role, because I think the main message here, the main takeaway is that the work that the speakers work towards is to let communities speak for themselves and support the empowerment of those communities. And so I don't want to summarize the discussion, but rather just to let the discussion speak for itself that we've had. So thank you so much to all of you. And this will be the end of the formal meeting. It's the one thing I find strange about this format is that we're not able to applause or clap in any way, which I find a bit odd. So maybe on behalf of everyone, I will do that to thank everyone who's been involved. And I would also look forward to joining a similar event in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carl, for covering all the bases on the thank yous, including the Peace Center staff and all the other fellows in our group who are attending today. I believe there's some interest in making a few more questions. Is that true, Catherine?
One is from Macy DM Tran.
It was about organizing across borders and international mobilizing. And my question, especially with organizing around the Salaween and Mekong, in what ways have rural local communities mobilized across international borders in order to build their movement power? What makes this international organizing successful, and what are the challenges? Thank you.
Maybe I can share a little bit based on our experience. Every year on 14 March, we already conduct International River Days. On that day, every year we on the Salaween River, along the Danrin River in Shan State, Gaya State, Kayan State, and Mon State. Everywhere, almost everywhere, we conduct the movement. Like we pray for the river, and we mobilize the community to be with us, and we pray for the healthy river. So this kind of activity we always make it every year, and not only in Myanmar but also in Thailand and across I think many countries and along the Danang River Basin and Mekong Basin, and we. After whatever activity we have, we always communicate with the International River. International River collect all the story, all the activities, and also post it on the website, and also release, make a statement on through their website. So by this way, we are working, we collaborating each other across the border. And another collaboration is we also the last few years we already bring up local participants, the activists, especially who really have power to make a change, like the village leader. So we brought them to do exchange with the communities in Thailand. Along the Danang River Basin, not only in the strong not only the community along the Danang River Basins, we also we did exchange with some other community that fighting against the dam project. For example, the communities in King Sutin Dam project, where the dam is proposed to be built. So we did exchange with this we did a lot of exchange activity with many.
As the previous practice so far in Cambodia, and also I heard from Laos and Thai, Vietnam as well. Every activist always stand for high risk, when we protect the natural resource, protect the local community, or where are call from the court, arrest from the government, otherwise some projects they have the legal support. They hire the lawyer to support in terms when the court call, because we are trying all the best to support the community. We are teach them to protect the local resource, natural resource, everything, but we not control it every time. We are the CSO staff, so we are trying them to voice out by their own to make powerful for them. But sometimes we cannot control. We cannot control. Some boy has been recorded, has been trying to arrest from the government, especially the experience of Lower Sesan 2 done in Cambodia. The court called 5 local activists, and then the donor or some CSO partner, they try to looking for the lawyer to support for those people. I think it is the best way to protect our activists and also to avoid the harmful to the community when they are arrested to the court or such a thing like Sambat Sapon in Laos has been kidnapped so far. We don't know where I see now. So it is a thing that I want to hear from our presenter. Is there any legal support project to our activists or not? Thank you.
So I believe the question was about what resources are available for activists to better understand the law in their own country, about the resource and the human rights, many things, and also how to get support, legal support for activists when they have a conflict with the government. Maybe they are arrested or something like that. What resources do you know that are available in terms of legal support?
คือเราต้องเข้าใจนะว่าไอ้การทำงานอย่างพวกเราเนี่ยคนที่จะเข้ามาทำงานในเรื่องราวพวกนี้อันแรกก็ต้องทำความเข้าใจก่อนแล้วก็ต้องทำใจก่อนว่างานที่เราจะทำเนี่ยมันเป็นงานที่ทุกคนบอกว่าเสี่ยงนั่นแหละนะมันไม่รู้ว่าวันไหนจะเกิดอะไรขึ้นอันนี้ก็เป็นเรื่องที่เราต้องทำใจสร้างความเข้าใจกับตัวเองก่อนแล้วทำความเข้าใจกับตัวเองสร้างความเข้าใจกับตัวเองว่าเราจะเจอกับอะไรมันจะเป็นการที่ทำให้เราคือรู้ล่วงหน้ามนุษย์เราถ้ามันรู้ล่วงหน้าก่อนว่าสิ่งที่เราจะไปทำนั่นมันคืออะไรแล้วมันเป็นยังไงถ้าเราโอเคสิ่งที่เราจะเข้าไปทำน่ะมันเป็นอย่างนั้นอย่างนี้แล้วมันจะเกิดอย่างนั้นอย่างนี้หัวใจเราและจิตใจเราว่าโอเคเราพร้อมที่จะทำนั่นก็คือสิ่งแรกที่นักกิจกรรมก็ต้องเรียนรู้และคิดเรื่องนี้ก่อนและอันที่สองในเรื่องเกี่ยวกับปัญหาที่มันเกิดขึ้นเนี่ยผมคิดว่าในปัจจุบันเนี่ยมันก็มีความแตกต่างกันในเรื่องของการปกครองแต่ละประเทศเนาะแล้วก็อย่างเช่นในประเทศเพื่อนบ้านอาจจะหนักหน่อยนะอย่างดร.สมบัติอย่างนี้นะครับที่มีปัญหาต้องหายตัวไปจนไม่รู้ว่าอยู่ที่ไหนอันนี้ก็เป็นเรื่องของการเมืองแต่ละประเทศมันก็มีปัญหาอยู่บางประเทศอาจจะหนักบางประเทศอาจจะเบานะครับแต่ว่าในการที่ถ้านักกิจกรรมของเราเนี่ยถูกกระทำในเรื่องของข้อกฎหมายหรืออะไรก็ตามเนี่ยเราคิดว่าปัจจุบันเนี่ยในเรื่องของนักกฎหมายหรือองค์กรที่จะเข้ามาช่วยเหลือเนี่ยถ้าพูดในเรื่องในประเทศไทยมันก็มีนะครับมีองค์กรเกี่ยวกับด้านกฎหมายที่จะเข้ามาช่วยเหลือนักกิจกรรมที่ถูกกระทำจากระเบียบกฎหมายจากรัฐนะครับอันนี้ก็ปัจจุบันเนี่ยมีองค์กรหลายองค์กรอยู่ที่พร้อมที่จะเข้ามาทำในเรื่องนี้แล้วมันก็คิดว่านักกิจกรรมก็ไม่ต้องไปเสียเงินเสียทองอะไรนะไม่ต้องไปจ้างใครแต่เพราะนั้นเรื่องนี้มันก็มีคนทำอยู่นะครับแต่ว่าสิ่งสำคัญที่สุดเนี่ยสิ่งสำคัญที่สุดในการที่จะปกป้องเนี่ยว่านะ นักกิจกรรมเนี่ยคือมันจะต้องมีองค์กรของภาคประชาชนที่มีความชัดเจนในเรื่องของการปกป้องบุคคลที่ไปทำงานเกี่ยวกับเรื่องราวที่ไปขัดแย้งผลประโยชน์กับรัฐทุนขนาดใหญ่ผมว่ามันต้องมีสถาบันซึ่งสถาบันเนี้ยมันจะต้องเกิดขึ้นจากภาคประชาชนด้วยสถาบันนี้มันต้องเกิดขึ้นจากภาคประชาชนภาคนักวิชาการรวมตัวกันซึ่งมันอาจจะเกิดขึ้นจากระดับท้องถิ่นไปสู่เครือข่ายแล้วยกระดับไปสู่สถาบันในการที่จะทำงานในเรื่องนี้ซึ่งบางครั้งมันก็อาจจะเป็นปัญหาในบางประเทศแต่ว่าถ้ายกตัวอย่างในประเทศไทยเนี่ยมันก็คงจะทำง่ายในเรื่องตรงนี้ให้มีองค์กรของภาคประชาชนในเรื่องของการที่จะปกป้องสิทธิอะไรต่างๆเป็นการรวมตัวของภาคประชาชนนะโดยผ่านเขาเรียกว่ายกตัวอย่างเช่นถ้าเราพัฒนาในเรื่องของสภาองค์กรสภาประชาชนลุ่มน้ำโขงประเทศไทยเนี่ยในการทำงานบทบาทของสภาประชาชนลุ่มน้ำโขงประเทศไทยเนี่ยมันก็ไม่ได้ทำงานในการปกป้องในสิ่งแวดล้อมเท่านั้นในเรื่องของการอธิบายหรือปกป้องในการขับเคลื่อนเรื่องสิ่งแวดล้อมแต่มันก็ต้องปกป้องและขับเคลื่อนในเรื่องของการปกป้องนักกิจกรรมไปด้วยอันนี้ผมว่าเรื่องพวกนี้เป็นเรื่องสำคัญที่มันน่าจะมีการยกระดับขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆแล้วก็อาจจะมีการทำงานในหลายแนวทางในการที่จะสร้างสถาบันเพื่อมาปกป้องบุคคลที่ทำงานในเรื่องพวกนี้ครับผม
So he said, first of all, the social activists must aware and prepare their mentality and understanding on the risks that they have to take. So being social activists is involved many risks and dangers. So if we mentally prepare for that, then that's the basics that we have to take the next approach. He's talked about this activism regarding international rivers. It also have to take into account different political development of the neighboring countries. He addressed the case of Sombat Sompon. So in our neighbor country, the political situation or development will be different. For Thailand, he believes that there's many civil society organizations that provide legal aid and legal support to activists facing persecutions, for instance, and then that could be pro bono as well. One of the most important in protecting the social activists is that we need to institutionalize defense mechanisms. It could start from the grassroots level, and then it can build into civil society networks, and later on become an institution. For instance, he mentioned about People Assembly in the Mekong River. This is not only protecting the environment, but protecting those environmental defenders, environmental rights defender as well.
Thank you, Kruti, for being with us the whole time. Appreciate it so much. Hope to see you again soon. Since we're done with the formal program, are there any other comments from our working group?
I'd just like to say again, thank you to everyone that was involved, everyone that had questions and comments, and apologies to those that we couldn't get to. There were really a lot of them, and probably at least 8 to 10 more people that either had to leave, but we're hoping that you'll hold on to those and maybe bring them back for our next program. And we just thank all the activists. I so much appreciate the work that you all do. It's difficult, it's dangerous, it's backbreaking, but it's so necessary for the world right now. And so I just want to honor the activists that are out there that are doing this critical work.
So thank you, everyone. We hope to join with you again.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you too.
Thank
you, everyone.